that. But first of all, I'd like to introduce my guest today for episode 9 of URI Just Getting Started. His name is Akeem Richmond. You may have remembered him. He played 2 excellent seasons at URI. Most important thing, people say, well, why do I have you on? Because you transferred. Well, because you hit a dagger against PC that took away a 16-point lead. So isn't that enough?
Right.
I'll take you for 1 game if that's the case. But now I'm just
right.
Akeem, it's great to have you here. You had great contributions, and I had no idea how great a prolific 3-point shooter you are. And I mean, the statistics bogged me down for hours and hours, all the things that you've done. But welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me. You know, I went to Rhode Island back in the day, and even though I did transfer, I still love Rhode Island with all of my heart. I still have a lot of family and friends up in Rhode Island, so I'm still a Rhodey fan. And I still talk to a lot of the fans as well, like on Facebook and Instagram and different platforms, and they show a lot of love, and that's one of the things that I really loved about Rhode Island. You know, the fan base is like more of a family-like atmosphere, you know.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm not talking hyperbole. You are one of the great all-time 3-point shooters. If you look at it statistically, you'll see a slide from me. Am I going overboard on that? I'm just going by numbers. I'm a numbers guy. That's all.
Yeah. Yes, I was, according to my numbers. You know, I was 4th all time, like as far as most made threes in a season. Steph Curry, he was number 1 with 162.
Why did you transfer from Rhode Island to East Carolina State? What was your reasoning?
Well, at the time, I had a lot going on that a lot of people didn't know about. I had 3 deaths in my family in less than like 2 months. First, my uncle had passed. My cousin was murdered, and then my grandmother had passed. So it was just a lot weighing down on me. You know, I wanted to get closer to home, and I began to get homesick, and, you know, it was just a lot going on. So I just needed a fresh, clean start, you know.
I had no idea, Akeem. I feel silly for even asking you that question.
Oh, no worries at all. Like, I'm glad you asked. Like, I'm not the type to make up any excuses, so I never really told anybody about it. Like, a few of my close teammates, they knew about it, so they was happy for me whenever I transferred. But no, it's perfectly fine. You know, it just made me stronger. But yeah, that's pretty much the answer to that. Just was homesick and wanted to get closer to my family, you know.
Sure. And how would you characterize your game? Is it more than just 3-point shooting?
At the beginning, it was just, you know, just knocking down the 3-pointer. But, you know, as I got a little bit older, I added a few more things to my game, you know, as far as being able to create my own shot, like step backs and, you know, transition threes and different things like that. So I'm a 3-point shooter, but I'm a tad bit more. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say I'm gonna come down the lane and dunk on you, or anything like that. But that's pretty much my game. I'm a sniper from outside the 3-point line.
Well, yeah. Looking here, you got this statistic's really interesting. 70% of your field goals came from deep. If that's accurate.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. I told you I love to shoot the tray.
Yeah, but you still had the percentage. With that, you're a volume shooter, and your percentage is going to, there's nothing wrong. In fact, at the time you played, when you're shooting 37.8 career 3-point,
right
now, you know, people are looking for 40, but everyone would settle for 37%, and the amount of shots. So I think that's an amazing statistic that a lot of people may overlook in your game. Just shot a lot.
Well, you know, being a college athlete, the first thing the coaches tell you, you're not going to be able to shoot the tray if you're not shooting over 35%. That's the minimum. If you're shooting like 30%, college coaches don't even want you to shoot the tray. So as long as I kept my percentage at a, you know, decent amount, I was able to shoot it.
Yeah. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah. Unfortunately, some players, are good 3-point shooters and it dips into the 30s, sometimes the 20s, and they're still shooting.
Ooh.
But
Yeah, the
you can have
20s is
more.
brutal.
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah, that's
brutal as a
brutal.
fan to watch too.
Yeah, I bet. I
Yeah.
bet you got to know when to, you know, unless you're just absolutely wide open. Like I'm talking about wide open. You shouldn't
Yeah.
be shooting any threes if you're shooting 20%, you know.
Sure. Well, now we're going to go to this statistic here. And this is why I think you're one of the greatest 3-point shooters in the game. And
Hmm.
people are saying, how can you say that? But look at the numbers here. Only Steph is ahead of you in this category. And you see
Right.
the other people that you're referring to. So
Hmm.
there's a reason. What do you think about that statistic? Are you surprised that you're able to do that, or are you proud of that?
Well, I'm very proud of it. It's an absolute blessing for me. And to be honest, that's one of the goals that I set out my senior year. Not to beat Steph Curry, but I want to be number one in the nation for most made threes in a season. And I did that. It started because like my junior year, after my junior year, they had named me the sixth best shooter in college basketball. And to others, that may be a great honor, but I felt kind of disrespected because I felt like I was the absolute best 3-point shooter in college basketball. So that's when I set out to be number one, for my senior year. So that was my goal. And the crazy part about it is, I'm what 7 off of Stephen Curry. I could have easily broken that because I had like 3 bad games my senior year. Not bad games, but where the shot wasn't falling. I had a game where I went maybe 2 for 6. Maybe if I would have went 5 for 6, and then another game where I went 6 for 6, I could have easily beat it. But looking back on it, I'm very proud of that achievement.
Yes, as you should be. And I could see why you're so successful because you're never satisfied. I'm already
Right,
catching that now. You should
right,
be satisfied. A lot of people, you're number two, and you're still not satisfied with the greatest
yeah,
3-point shooter in the world ever. So
right,
I
right.
bow to that. I think that's great quality, and it's evident in your game.
Thank you. And you just put things into perspective. Like you're right. Like sometimes you just got to be satisfied with what you've already done. You know, and it's something that I could definitely show to my kids, because Steph Curry, he's one of the best basketball players to ever play in the NBA. And to just know that my name is mentioned in the same breath as his is incredible to me.
Then you have your pro career, and I'm gonna move out of the way. So tell me a little bit about your pro career after a great college career. What was it like?
It was interesting. I had 3 NBA workouts. I worked out with the Houston Rockets, I worked out with the Boston Celtics, and I worked out with the Orlando Magic. And out of those 3 workouts, my best workout came with the Houston Rockets. And they ended up signing me in October, I believe. It was like more so like a training camp deal. And I stayed with them for about a week, which was a really cool experience, training with James Harden and Dwight Howard and Jason Terry. It was just so surreal. It's everything that you've always wanted, as a basketball player. So just being in that environment for just a week and a half, I learned so much from those guys. And then I ended up going to the NBA G League, the Houston Rockets affiliate, the RGV Vipers, which was an incredible experience as well. I learned a lot from those guys down there and from the NBA guys because they would come down and watch us and give us advice and different tips on how to get better at the game of basketball. So it was pretty incredible. That was my first year. My second year, I played for the Sacramento Kings NBA G League, which was in Reno, the Reno Bighorns, which was really good for me. We ended up winning the Western Conference Championship. and I played with John Stockton's son, David Stockton, who is just like his dad, past first point guard. So, I was loving that, especially, being a shooter.
Yeah.
I was loving that. I also played with a lot of other guys that got drafted into the NBA. Ricky Lito, who is from Rhode Island, I played with him as well. Yeah, he's really good. One of the best players I've ever played with. And then Eric Green, who went to Virginia Tech, played 3 or 4 years for the Denver Nuggets. He was on our team as well.
You've had some other big games in the G League. Is there a game where you hit 9 3-pointers, or is that my accurate?
Oh, 10.
10. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 10 against the Miami Heat NBA G League team. And it was on Christmas Day. Yeah, I was really feeling it that day. I was like, if I have to be away from my family on Christmas Day, then, I'm going out swinging. I'm going out with a blast. So that was my motivation for that night. And then I also hit 9 against the Lakers G League team as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have some video on that.
Okay.
Twice. Not helping themselves, RLA. Three-pointer by Akeem Richmond, guard out of East Carolina. Here's Nick Johnson looking for some help. Richmond into the lane. Good move as he cut into the lane and worked right around Vanderblue.
Underestimated.
Where's Jabari Brown been? We didn't see Jabari in the home opener. Nice to see him back. He had 13 points in the Defenders season opener as Akeem Richmond hits the 3, but Jabari didn't play on Saturday night. Getting into the game here with 4 minutes to Gary Talton. Kick out near corner for Akeem Richmond. And Richmond.
Yes, I played in Australia and I played in Malaysia as well. And that was a really cool experience for me. It's like my first time being outside the country, but it's definitely some cons to that as well. More pros than cons, but at the time I had a daughter and I was just missing her. It's hard to watch them grow via FaceTime. Over FaceTime, it's just hard watching them grow. The time difference. So I was barely talking to my daughter like that, and it began to weigh on me. But other than that, I absolutely loved it. Being in a new environment, learning their culture, different food, and different languages. It was really cool, and I'm blessed to be able to even be here talking about that. Looking back.
Yeah. So how long did you stay in the overseas and G League total?
No. I played 2 years in the NBA G League, 1 year in Malaysia, and then 1 in Australia. And then after Australia, I was like, okay, I'm kind of burned out with it. It's time to try something else. So pretty much what I'm doing now is I have my own shooting company. So I travel throughout the state of North Carolina teaching kids how to shoot the basketball, because that's a very important aspect that gets overlooked. You see guys that want to dribble and want to dunk it, but shooting the basketball is the most important part of the game. And I just try to teach all the athletes that I train, like, no matter if it's middle school, high school, college, if you can shoot the basketball, then you're going to get playing time.
Well, that's excellent that you're able to do that. And I know players that are, Delroy James has been playing still. I hear he's in South America now, and it takes a toll on you. You have your kids, he has a son, and your priorities are right there with, you're getting the best of both worlds, I would think.
Yeah, it's a cool experience, but it's just pretty much, it all just depends on what you're looking for. I never wanted to be an absent father in any aspect. I want to watch my kids grow right in front of me. I want to be there for everything, when they're crawling, when they're walking, when talking, doing all of that. So it all just depends on what you're looking for,
Yeah, well, that's pretty amazing. You see the big picture more than just the game.
Right.
What was it like your 2 years at Rhode Island?
It was amazing. It made me a man. It really did, because I was the kid that was like, I have a big family at home. So I never really been away from my family like that. But just being up in Rhode Island, it really made me a man. And I had incredible teammates, like Delroy James, Jamal Wilson, Ryan Brooks, who just, like I said, it felt like a family-like atmosphere and a family-like vibe. So I really enjoyed it, And of course, the Ryan Center, playing in front of those wonderful fans, it was loud every single night, especially the PC games. Those games were crazy. Around North Carolina, it's more so like Duke versus North Carolina. So being from North Carolina, I never really looked into the PC versus URI rivalry. And like all of my teammates, they kept telling me it's gonna be loud in here, it's gonna be loud in here. But I thought that they was, putting on or exaggerating. But it was crazy when we played against PC. And I had some great times at Rhode Island. Like I said, I still have a lot of family and friends there that I still talk to this day. So I got nothing but love for Rhode Island.
Can you believe that there's people out there saying that the Rhode Island PC game is not a rivalry? I'm not going to mention names.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Names, Nate Watson, who just said there's only one rivalry now, UConn PC.
No.
It was once in the top 30, Rhode Island, but this is going back, how many games and years?
It's definitely a top 10 rivalry in the country, I would say. Maybe top 5.
Well, you definitely, anytime you could play for a university and get a W against PC, I think it's a successful year. And we're going to get to that game in a little while too, because that was something. But so you went to URI for 2 years and then you left. Understandably, I understand now. And then you could see, you had a really good year, 2009, 2000. That was one of the best teams, 26-10.
Yeah, we did. We did really well that year. And of course, I feel like we got cheated in Madison Square Garden to UNC. I think if we would have won that game, we would have won the whole entire NIT tournament. But as I look back over that roster, I think it's not even including myself. I think it's about 6 to 7 guys that could be on the NBA roster. We had Keith Cochran, Delroy James, Lamont, Orion, Outerbridge. Like, there's so many guys that we had. Jamal, it was crazy. So just looking back, I feel like it's a lot of guys from that roster that could be on the NBA roster right now in 2021.
Sure, it was. So I do not understand that North Carolina game, and I've had Ryan on and I've had Delroy on, and I'm going to give you a break. I'm not going to show you that videotape anymore. I call it the trip game, but even the announcers were admitting that it was just a terrible call, and you know what? It still haunts me because you were the better team, and they were big and powerful, but you guys were the better athletes and better players, in my opinion.
When I seen it happen, like right in front of my face, it was such a outer body experience. I was like, okay, the ref's gonna come back and realize he made a mistake, but they just walked off and the crowd started leaving, and I'm like, oh, this is really real, like we really just lost on that play. Like,
I felt the same way. I was just waiting for something to happen, and a call or a late whistle. Nowadays, I guess they would have replayed that, or
right. That's what I'm thinking. They would have had to review it or something, but that's what I was thinking they was gonna do then. But of course, like more technology nowadays, but they definitely would have reviewed and overturned that call.
Yeah. Well, Ryan made me remember that the next game wasn't so much fun for North Carolina. He wasn't too forgiving when they played Dayton and lost by about 30 points. So how do you guys match up against that Dayton team?
Dayton, I believe we beat those guys. I know we used to beat Dayton every single time. I know Marquise Jones, he beat them 2 times in a row, like at the buzzer.
Yes.
I believe we beat them that year. But I think we did, actually.
It would have been nice. And you have a postseason championship, and we're going to get to that too. I'm just a little teaser, but
Yeah.
so you left, you sat out, and then over here you look at 2011 and 12 when you would have been on the team, and it was a really rough year.
Yeah, they brought in a lot of guards that year too. Like I seen like the handwriting on the wall as well. I'm like, wait a minute, they're bringing in a lot of guards, and Billy was coming in. I remember Andre Malone, because those guys were already there because they left in the middle of the season, so they was already like in practice with us and stuff. So not even counting the freshmen, you already got two guards with Billy and Andre, and then who's the kid, Holton? No,
You
he's
know,
not a
he's
guard. I'm
from my
sorry.
neck of the
Mike
woods.
Powell.
Mike Powell.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Mike Powell.
They called them the Fabulous Five. It was Holton,
Really?
Mike Powell, a few other people, and they
Yeah.
told Preston was on a few weeks ago, that they were going to beat the seniors and juniors, and it didn't come into fruition. Sponge, he definitely
Yeah.
did well rebounding wise, but
Mhm.
they had me fooled a little while calling them
Yeah.
the Fab Five because the talent
Yeah.
was there, but it wasn't meant to be. And it makes it look like it was actually a good move for you, because
Right.
following 2 years at East Carolina, and we'll get to that. I keep saying we'll get to that, but we're very successul. And
Yeah.
and you're talking about how good this team is. You're going by memory. Well, you don't have to go by. I like this picture of you.
Oh yeah, I love that. A funny story about that. Delroy told me, "Hey, come over here." And I think it was a leak in the ceiling or something. He said, "Let's go look at the leak."
Oh, really?
Yeah, I swear to you, you can ask him. He said they're gonna take this picture. Watch this. So he was like, pretend like you're looking at the leak, and they literally took it. I thought like, man, they're not gonna take this picture. And then like 2 days later, he texted to me.
That is so fun. And you
It's
could have just
crazy.
told me you were thinking strategy and final
Right.
plays and just
Exactly.
keeping your thoughts, but yeah, that is just hilarious. That's why I love
Right.
these shows. I hear stories like this one, and visual
Right.
stories are amazing. That's hilarious.
Yeah, you would never think that just looking at that picture. You would, 1,000 thoughts would come to your head, but not what I just said.
Now that you said that, I wouldn't think anything else. It looks exactly like that. But
Right.
that's a great story. But well, getting back here, Orion, Will Martell, Akeem, Lamont, Delroy, Keith, Marquise. We're still going. Is Steve? A lot of people like Steve Delroy.
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah, as I look at this roster, any of those guys could have started in the starting five. And I'm being completely honest. From top to bottom, from Keith to Nick and all of those guys. It's crazy. Man.
There was only one basketball. Was that a problem with all these stars? And
yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that definitely was a problem at times, but we made it work. We had guys like Marquise Jones and Stevie who kept us, together. Because I believe they were like some of the best point guards in the country as far as assist to turnover ratio. So that really helped us out a lot, having those 2 point guards on that roster. So
do you check out Stevie's Facebook page? Looks like he's doing pretty well for himself. And
no, I haven't checked him out. What is he up to?
I think he's in construction or landscaping or decks
nice.
or whatever, but he likes to put out a few pictures here and there. He seems
okay.
to be a guy that
see that.
liked. Is that correct? He was
Say
really
that again.
a likable guy.
Yeah. Everybody liked Stevie. He's made the team laugh a lot.
I could tell by his posts on Facebook.
Yeah, the crazy thing is all of us got along, like everybody on that roster. We were like brothers, That's why I said I literally still talk to all of them to this day.
And you were no slouch as far as recruiting. 3 stars to me. There's a lot of 3-star players that are better than 4 stars, and I see it all the time.
Right.
So you were a 3-star. What was your recruiting like? Did you have a lot of options?
Yeah, I did. At the beginning, I did, but then they was trying to see if I would grow, because I was playing shooting guard, 6'1" shooting guard, not really going to work at the big schools. So they thought, so they wanted me to transition to point guard. And it was pretty much my decision. It was like, okay, if you transition to point guard, you may get bigger looks from bigger schools, or you could stay at the 2 and just go to the school of your liking and fit right in. So that's pretty much what I decided to do. I had South Florida, University of South Florida, Western Kentucky, and Syracuse. It's like my top 3. And
Syracuse. Wow.
yeah, I was literally about to go to Syracuse, but then they ended up signing the kid, Brandon Trish.
Of course.
Yeah, they ended up signing him, and they told me, they was like, you can still sign here, but to be honest, it's not much playing time. And that roster, I was just looking at it the other day. They went on to win. I think they went 30-3 that year. I think they made it.
Yeah, I remember that team, and you definitely
that was a good
the lights out against Brandon Trish, but he did all the other things that
exactly, and he had the size. He's like 6'4", 6'5". So
I think
I was like, I want
to room with you in there. Maybe they were 31 in 2.
Right. Exactly. So I just wanted to go somewhere. I took a trip up to Rhode Island, which I've never been to Rhode Island, and the Ryan Center and the campus, and just meeting the coaches. And Jimmy Barron was leaving because he was a senior, so he was graduating. And they told me, they said, hey, you could slide right into his position and slide right into his spot, and I believe that year Jimmy had a crazy year, and I was just watching, the Rhode Island games, watching film on him, watching how they run him off screens. So I was like, hey, that could potentially be me my freshman year.
Are you
that's pretty much
Duke game?
Say that again.
Are you referring to Jimmy Barron in the Duke game as one of those
yeah
games?
Yes, for sure. He went crazy. That game, making everything. I think I believe he had 9 threes.
Yeah.
Did he have 9 threes that game? Something like that?
Not your numbers of 10 or 11, but they were the fact that he went so far away. He did some Jared Terrell. If the logo was at that part of the court, then that would have been a logo 3. He was before time when it came to threes, I think.
Right.
But your numbers are just as good, and we have to give you just as much attention. I'm just being honest.
I appreciate that.
So and I've watched some film. Who did Rhode Island sick on you? Pat Scarry? He was some closer.
Oh, Scarry. Actually, I have a funny story. Scarry had just left, but I just seen him 2 weeks ago at the Ohio State game because he coaches at Towson. And I have a kid that I was training that I sent to Towson. So I went over and I met with Pat Scarry and the coaching staff and all those guys. And of course, he remembered me. First thing he said to me was, man, you lit us up when you played against us at Pitt, because he was the coach at Pitt my sophomore year when Rhode Island played against Pitt. So
yes.
Yeah.
That was a good game. That was one of your best.
It was.
Yeah,
it was. But Kevin Clark
coming up.
Oh yeah.
Everything's coming up, but so who?
Yeah, I still remember it too. Kevin Clark, Coach Clark.
Okay.
Yeah, Coach Clark brought me in.
Oh, excellent recruiting. And I know this is a Rhode Island hoops podcast, but you had some career at East Carolina, and it's foolish for me to not mention all these things. Your second team, Conference USA. You're even in the 3-point shooting for national.
Yes.
So your career at East Carolina, tell me about your career in a snapshot about how it was and what was it like and how good the team really was. I know some numbers and you broke a lot of records, but I'd like to hear from you.
Right. Okay. So obviously transferring from Rhode Island, I was a little sad to leave my teammates. I made some great friends up there, but I had to do what I had to do. So it really helped me out that I was able to sit out a year, because I kind of needed a basketball break, a break from basketball.
Mhm.
So during my time of sitting out, I was just getting up shots and just saying, I can't wait for next year. I can't wait for next year. That was my mindset. And it did suck at times sitting out. You know, the team will travel and just leave me behind, but I use it as motivation to just get better and better and just stay in the gym. So I come back my junior year and I just felt so prepared after sitting out a year. And I believe that's what helped me. Like I was a pretty good shooter at Rhode Island, but I became a great shooter at East Carolina University due to me sitting out. You know, I had nothing but time on my hands. And that's pretty much how that went. And my senior year was really cool. I actually was able to play in the Ryan Center. It was an NIT tournament going on. Yeah, it was the craziest thing. And we played 2 games in the Ryan Center. We played against McNeese State and I think it was Asheville, University of North Carolina, Asheville. And a lot of the fans came to the game. I had a great game. I think I had 27 points.
Wow.
In the first game. Yeah, in the second game, I had about 15 points. And I talked a lot to the fans. Yeah, and they were cheering for me and everything. It was like a homecoming for me. It was great.
That's a great story. They need to have some more games at the Ryan Center. I don't believe they have any NIT games in a while now, and just as you explained it, so
yeah. Well, this was like the beginning. The beginning. You know how they have a beginning and an ending NIT? Like they had one at the beginning of the season.
Oh, okay. What was it like playing under Coach Barron?
It was pretty cool.
Players coach, right?
Say that again.
He was a players coach, wasn't he? Delroy said something to that effect, or Ryan said something to that effect.
Yeah, he was. Like, I love Coach Barron because he gave me an opportunity to come in, especially as a freshman, and do what I needed to do. See, the thing about Coach Barron is he would reward you if he seen you putting in the work. And he used to see me in the gym putting up shots. So he rewarded me with playing time. And if I had a bad game, he knew, okay, I see Akeem in there putting in work, so I'm still going to give him the minutes that he deserves.
Wow.
So as long as you come in and do what you're supposed to do, he was pretty much, cool with you. But if you didn't do what you were supposed to do, not saying like any names, like it was some guys on our team that Coach Barron just wasn't feeling for whatever reason. Like he probably like labeled them as lazy or whatever the case may be. You've seen those guys not getting much playing time, as they would have liked.
So he wasn't.
But it was cool.
He was an enforcer by minutes.
Exactly. He don't have to talk you to death.
The minutes.
Exactly. So he's gonna show you. Yeah, right. He gonna show you like nobody wants their minutes declined or taken away from them. So he ain't gonna scream at you to death. He's just gonna show you, okay, you're just gonna ride the bench until you do what I need you to do.
Well, I say this a lot. He was probably the most underrated recruiter at Rhode Island in recent time. And we're looking at players on the roster that one season for many seasons with many great players.
Exactly. Yeah. I got nothing but love for Coach Barron. And obviously he's a good coach. Look at his sons.
Yeah.
They both are really good basketball players. So he's obviously pretty good.
How about this? Your champion. We're going to go to a videotape here.
Okay.
Because this was something else.
Right. I think Jeff Lebo's going to take a timeout. And I think they're going to clear it out for Paul to take it. 5. Paul tied up. For the win. He got it to go.
What a night.
Richmond. They'll automatically go back and look at the monitor. But it looked to me like it was in plenty of time. And East Carolina, for the first time, had a winning record in Conference USA.
Let me ask you a question. The three-pointer, no doubt, was big then, but it's nothing like it is today. And in the NBA, did you get to see Steph Curry break the record at MSG, Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, I seen that. That was pretty impressive.
If you came out now and the game is completely changed. Stephen Curry changed it. It's the 3-pointer is the goal, to get the best 3-point shot, whip the ball around both sides. You think your chances of playing in the NBA would have been increased because of the way the game changed?
Yes, me and my friends talk about that all the time. Well, they mention it to me. I don't really talk about it, but they say, hey, I believe if you had the season that you had your senior year in 2021, I think you would get drafted. And I agree with them because, like, after my senior year, that's when the 3-pointer was slowly coming around. That's when, the Warriors were slowly, becoming a great team, because guys wasn't really shooting 3-pointers like that back then. And they were shooting it, but that's when Steph Curry was really starting to crank up and, hit those threes, and Klay Thompson and a few other guys.
So are you thinking of like putting back the shoes, lacing the sneakers again? Seeing what you do?
Nah, I'm good on that. Just right now, just trying to get other people better and just trying to give them knowledge, that I didn't have at their age. So that's pretty much what I'm doing now with my training, just teaching them how to shoot and different things like that. So I'm good. I'm good on that.
It's once in a while, maybe you're thinking about it, but when you see all those threes going up, you probably would have had a lot more.
I still get excited thinking about it sometimes. But I know I could still shoot the three. That don't go anywhere.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a key part of the show. We're gonna for the PC game now, and there's a lot that happened there.
But they're moving on with Akeem Richmond hoisting a three. But they're moving on with Akeem Richmond hoisting a three.
What do you think of that shot? That meant a lot. You took the lead for the first time. Wasn't that the shot?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was. It's crazy. You can hear how loud the crowd is just from that video. So imagine being inside the Ryan Center on the floor. Like, I remember hearing the crowd. It was crazy. I live for moments like that. Ever since I've been a little boy, I don't get nervous in front of big crowds. I enjoy, showing them what I got. I enjoy entertaining them. So just to play in a sold out Ryan Center, I believe that was the first sold out game that season too. Like, I believe that was like it was an early game. It was like our 6th or 7th game. So like that was the first sold out arena that I've ever played in. So I was waiting for that moment, and I was ready. We beat those guys, and that's one of my most favorite games I've ever played in college.
Yeah,
that was an incredible night.
And there was a lot to that. I didn't realize that. I just saw that video and didn't know that you were down by 16 points.
Yeah, they was taking it to us. Which they had a really good team that year, to be honest, with Marshawn Brooks and a few other guys. They were really good, but hey, we got the W.
But it's not a rivalry, right?
That's insane.
Yeah, I know. I harp on that a lot. Let's go to a few more video.
With this high school team doing whatever he wants to do in this basketball game.
Corner! No, they're moving on with Akeem Richmond hoisting a three.
And you bringing back a lot of memories.
I love when a player has a break and they're so confident that instead of going to the basket, they stop and they pop. And you know how many times a player misses those shots? And I knew it was going in.
Yeah, because if you miss, you're coming out the game for that one.
Well,
coaches don't. No, if you miss that transition three, you're coming out because it's uncommon. Yeah, they want you to go to the basket, but you gotta, if you know you can make it. And like as a shooter, that's when you're gonna be the most wide open. You know, you coming down in transition. The defenders, they're backpedaling. So you just gotta take your time and knock down the shot. But
Yeah.
you brought back a lot of memories with that.
Do you have a few goosebumps from that?
Oh yeah, of course. I miss being in the Ryan Center because that's where I spent most of my time at. Like even seeing your background, the Ryan Center, I'm getting a lot of memories and goosebumps, you know.
Now, I'm wondering, I have a feeling you might know this guy. Do you know Jeremy Shepard?
Yes, from ECU.
Yes.
Yeah. I seen, like, I didn't even know. I looked online. I was like, wait a minute. He transferred to Rhode Island? It's just so crazy. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
He's a great player too.
Yeah, no, he is. He was pretty good at ECU. Like, a lot of people were surprised that he transferred. But no, I love his game. I respect his game.
Well, Akeem, this has been great. I'm so glad that we met on Instagram, and it was just a pleasant surprise doing the research on you and seeing how prolific you are as a three-point shooter. I really was taking the time out on a Sunday night to be on this show means a lot to me and means a lot to the Rhodey Nation. So
absolutely. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me. You know, like I said, you brought back a lot of memories from Rhode Island, and I always hold a special place for Rhode Island in my heart, you know.
Well, if there is something else, I hear there's a job at an arena checking out to see if there's leaks on the ceiling. Should I give up your name? And Delroy.
Of course. Yeah, me and Delroy.
Well, Akeem, have a great rest of the weekend, and the holidays are coming up, and let's stay in touch. Just a pleasure to meet you. You're a great guy, not just a great player, but father, family member, everything.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Happy holidays to you.
Yes, you too. Go Rhodey.
All right.